So I didn't get to go to Expo this year. Pinball Expo, the industry event, the industry show in Chicago or outside of Chicago. And me, who is crazy in love with pinball and who spends a lot of my non-working, non-marital life moments thinking about pinball, reading about pinball, watching things about pinball, and playing pinball. I didn't get to go to Expo this year because I'm on this trip for work because I have a new job. And it's been frustrating because there's a lot going on, huge amounts of stuff going on, and I'm going to do my absolute best from Southeast Asia to try and touch on some of what I have been able to decipher off the internet and emails and text messages, etc., etc., etc. This will be episode 231 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It's a commentary. It's my commentary. And I'm a man out of baht. I have very few baht. I have some euros. I have some other currencies that I can't recall at the moment. So let me just preface this show. I'm coming to you live, not live, whatever, from pouring, rainy, gloomy, overly humid, overly warm Phuket, Thailand. This may be, and I'm pretty confident saying, the very first pinball podcast ever recorded in Phuket, Thailand. That's where we're coming to you from a very nice JW Marriott on the shores of some beach, which I can't pronounce the name of, here on Sunday afternoon, October 16th. It's 12:49 a.m. back at home in San Diego, as my computer clock is telling me, but here in Thailand, it's the afternoon. I am 15 hours ahead, I believe, of home, something like that. Welcome. Thanks for listening. So I've been on this crazy trip. I got a new job. I am working on international business with Taylor Guitars. I'm moving to Amsterdam, yada, yada, yada. I'm on this trip with my boss and with one of the founders of the company and the other director of sales and another vice president. We're on this trip to see the world. We are literally flying around the world, starting in San Diego, flying all the way around the globe and ending up back in San Diego to see some of our top accounts, some of our top distributors, look for opportunities that maybe we don't know, develop deeper relationships with our partners in places like Thailand, like Singapore, like Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We've been all over the place. You want to hear a list? I'll give you a list just for posterity's sake, right? So San Diego, upstate New York, Amsterdam, had a sales meeting. That seems like months ago. Glasgow, Scotland, Dubai, the Maldives. It just was a place to stop and get fuel. What can I say? The Maldives, beautiful, by the way. Have no idea if there's pinball because never saw much of it. Shortstop. I'm losing it. Hold on. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Singapore, Bangkok, Thailand, the day after the King of Thailand passes away. So that was a very interesting trip. And now 2 days in Phuket. Today is my first off day on this entire trip. I walked the beaches. I saw this place. It's beautiful out here, and it just started raining like crazy. And I thought, this is my chance to go get a recording done. So here I am. Next, we're headed to Hong Kong, Taiwan, Seoul, South Korea, Tokyo, Maui, home to San Diego. 18 days. It's an amazing, amazing trip that I am so fortunate to be on. Once in a lifetime, and I'm getting to know the top people at my company very well, and I think they're getting to know me as I transition to Director of Sales Europe for Taylor Guitars. So that's where I'm at. I'm not in Chicago. I'm not at Pinball Expo. This is probably one of the biggest news-generating pinball expos of all time. I think that with the continued, I will say that again, renewal of interest in the pinball industry and hobby, more people investing money and time and energy and creativity into pinball, more people talking about pinball, recording content about pinball, really trying to contribute to pinball at large. This is a really massive expo, and I'm not there. So there is that. And that's not to say that that's an event for anybody other than me that I'm not there. I feel like, I wish I was there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do my best here. I don't know all the details. I've watched as much video as I can, but I got to get this done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow a little timeline of events from pinballnews.com. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate you putting so much effort and work into detailing and documenting what goes on around the world in pinball. And this is on the internet for all to look at and read along, and document to others forever. I love it. It's amazing what he does. So thank you to Martin. I'm going to use his timeline of his Expo review to sort of go through this. I didn't want to pick a story to lead with because I almost felt it would be unfair, since all these companies have new games, new projects, additional projects, teases of things leaking. I didn't want to have to pick and say, oh, the Stern game's more important than the Jersey Jack game, or the Highway game's more important than the Stern game. I just wanted to I was going to flip coins, but I thought we'll just do it in the order they're on this Pinball News Expo 2016 review. So I'm starting, and to everyone listening that's involved with other projects that I don't talk about, it's not that I don't love you, it's not that I don't care, I'm trying to hit the high points. And eventually my life will settle down. I'll be in Amsterdam, it'll be cold and raining, and we'll do this all the time, and we'll talk about all sorts of stuff. Okay, good? All right, so that's what we're going to do. I'm starting here with the up close with Gary Stern. Gary Stern was at 5 o'clock on the first main night of Expo. Talked about things he talks about the different places they're selling pinball machines to, talked about their new factory in Elk Grove Village. He actually did bring up the ghosting problem on manufacturing, so I think that's a fantastic move on Gary's part to just go ahead and address it at Expo, and brought up the fact that they would be replacing playfields that had ghosting insert issues, so hopefully that is a step towards taking care of all those affected by that. Talked about the different games they're building, how they have studio editions like Whoa Nelly and Batman 66, which were co-opted with other companies. I think there'll be more of that in the future. Private label, the Pabst Can Crusher. That's not a game that they're trying to sell you to you, Mr. Consumer, buyer of pinball machines. The Pabst Can Crusher was really a private label game, a promotional game for another company. And then they also had Contract Management game in Medieval Madness, which, from everything I'm hearing, there will be another remake game from that Bally Williams era, but it will not be built by Stern. And I don't know. I'm hearing things, but no announcements on that coming out of Pinball Expo. George Gomez came up. George Gomez obviously led the development and the design of the Batman 66 game. And let's just address this real quick, since I have not recorded an episode in a long time, since episode 230, which saw this host poke a lot of fun at the super limited edition route that they chose to go with on the not really Vault Edition Batman 66, really a reimagining of their Batman the Dark Knight game. I think that I was honest in my opinions on the game. I think I probably poked a little too hard at some things for some people's liking. I certainly did not mean to offend anybody. I disagreed with some of the marketing ideas behind that game. I still do. I'll stand by that. I absolutely upset people at Stern. I can tell you that. I don't think I have carte blanche to grab any late-breaking interviews with the folks at Stern right now. They were not happy with me. That's a fact. I let them know that I was sorry they were not happy with me, but I did disagree with what they did, and they disagreed with me disagreeing, and I think we're all still friends. I call it like it is, man. If I like what you're doing, I'm going to praise it. If I don't like it, I think it would be disingenuous not to say I don't like it. So I did not like the whole super limited edition promotion. I thought that could have been handled in a different way. Although I did tell you on the show that I believed it would work, and from everything I'm hearing, it worked. It sounds like they sold lots of games. This is a business. They are trying to make money. It sounds like that worked out well for them. So I just didn't love the tone and some of the moves made there. We'll leave it at that. But we finally got to see Batman 66. And I will tell you, of all the games that I saw coming out of Expo, of all the packages, art package, lights, toys, the whole design element, I think Batman 66 wins hands down. I think it had a level of polish and maturity of integration of theme and design. I just think it was a great package. I really do. Problem coming out of Expo for Stern is the game wasn't ready to be played, and that is the problem with trade shows in general for people building products. My company has run into it. My past company ran into it all the time. Is you're in a process to build a product, and you're in a build cycle, development cycle, and that cycle does not always line up with your trade show and your press cycles. And unfortunately, Batman 66 wasn't ready for prime time as far as being played. It was showed off. I think everybody, well, not everybody, I think the overall general vibe was that it looked great. It looked like a different game completely than The Dark Knight. I was really impressed by the package. There's definitely a current of comments on pricing and pinball in general, not just with Stern going on right now, that is hard to ignore if you read message boards and read some of the emails I have gotten. And all I will say to the pricing conversation right now at the moment is the market will address that. The market will address that. So if it's too high, the market will figure that out. If it's sustainable where it is, the market will know, and the market will keep selling games. So that's how that will always play out. So Batman 66, this was not one of their tentpole games. This is not one of their games they're trying to. There's no pro version of Batman 66. This is an upscale collector aimed game. They at some point changed the amount of super limited editions from 30 to 80. I've heard varying stories on when and why, but I think kind of came down to the fact if they had that much demand for that from the collector market, they probably didn't want to not sell those at such a high price. Very interesting. So game looks good. I look forward to gameplay videos. I look forward to playing the game. I think the integration of the Stern LCD screen is really, really great. I love the Jersey Jack games when they're on and things are happening, and that I don't love the Jersey Jack games when they're turned off or they're broken or anything like that, and you just have a black screen. That's not good. That doesn't feel pinball-like to me. But I think Stern's found a pretty nice balance with a back glass and a screen and their speaker panel. Looks good. I like it. So as far as from what I can see via the internet, via the other side of the world, the game looks really solid, looks good. Can't wait to play it. Definitely, that game is going to appeal to collectors. Period. End of story. And I think that was the aim and the intention, and I think they've checked all those boxes. So that's one of the big stories coming out of Expo. Certainly is the unveiling of Batman 66. Sticking with Stern, just to try and keep all my Stern things together. We had sort of a quote leak or an uncovering of what looks to be and is, I think, pretty much confirmed by the text in the leak, the Aerosmith artwork. Long rumored game, Aerosmith, coming from Stern, with Mr. Dirty Donnie from Metallica design fame doing the artwork for that game. He released a coffee table book that came out during Expo with his art, and in that coffee table book there was artwork for the Aerosmith game. I don't know if that was sort of an accident or just that Stern thought Aerosmith would be out by now, which we know there'd been delays this year with their production, so maybe Aerosmith should have been out right now. Ghostbusters was a big hit. Ghostbusters had some production issues, so things got delayed maybe. Speculation on my part. But this book may have just been timed at a certain point. It had that art in it. You're going to get it. So I don't know if this was expected. I also know, and I think that it's okay, that sometimes companies don't mind leaks. Sometimes leaks aren't the worst thing in the world. Certainly leaks like we saw early on with Ghostbusters, that's not good. Nobody wanted that. Definitely not. But maybe a bit of playfield artwork and some backglass and cabinet artwork for Aerosmith, I don't know. That's not the worst thing in the world. I think it looks really good. I'm a bit of an Aerosmith fan, so I'm pretty positive on that. I'm liking what I saw there. I think we're really going to enter this era with Stern games where they're seeing, I've said this before, and Game of Thrones kind of dialed me back a little bit, but I think that Stern understands how important the art package is to these games when you're selling into people's homes. So with that, we will move on. Jersey Jack Pinball. has had this long rumored Pat Lawler game coming. This is going to be Jersey Jack Pinball release number 3. This is Pat Lawler's first game in years. This was rumored to have all sorts of technological advances. We heard not a wide body is a wide body. It's not a wide body. I have been hearing through various people shooting me little bits of info here and there for a long time what the name and concept of this game was. I actually didn't believe it for a long time because it didn't make any sense to me. But then I started hearing, and I think I even heard from Jack himself a year ago at Expo, a lot about cell phone integration and an app. And I started thinking, well, maybe this is what it is. And so we have now seen the world release of Jersey Jack Pinball's Dialed In. There's an exclamation point, I believe, on Dialed In. So it's Dialed In, not Dialed In, Dialed In. Got it? I got a lot of mixed feelings on this, I have to tell you. So I think what we're seeing here with this machine, a couple things. They went to a lot of effort to keep this completely under wraps. There were no artwork leaks. The title was not leaked to the masses. I know a few people who knew it, but the title was not leaked generally. I didn't see it popping up on Pinside over the past year. A lot of the features that are in this game were never whispered about. I didn't see people with their little, well, I don't know, maybe it'd be cool if they did this, even though they know exactly that's what they're doing. I love that move on Pinside. I know the whole story, so I'm going to go ahead and guess a part of the story, so I'll look really smart when the story comes out. Dude, come on. There's enough people who also know the story that know what you're doing. You look silly. You know who I'm talking about. It's like a lot of people, actually. So you had a situation where this game was designed under wraps. It was designed, quote, in the bubble. And it's really easy, I think, when you have someone like Pat Lawler, Funhouse, Addams Family, Twilight Zone, lots of other great games, right? Pat Lawler, Earthshaker, Whirlwind. Pat Lawler designing a game. People saying, I'm buying this no matter what. It's Pat Lawler. It's Jersey Jack. It's got a big HD color screen. How can they miss? It's really easy to sort of say, Pat, do your thing and totally stay out of the way. And look, I don't know Pat Lawler at all. I'm sure Pat's a great guy. From what I see, my first impressions, and I've not played the game, I've just watched some videos, the game looks fantastic. I think it looks really packed with features. I think for the pinball player who wants lots of interesting pieces and toys and sparkle and motion and interactivity, this game's a home run. That part of it, awesome. I think the color scheme's really good. I think it's certainly unique right now. Lots of blues. It looks very, I don't know, it kind of has a throwback look to it. It looks like a Pat Lawler game. It looks like Whirlwind meets, I don't know, Last Action Hero? I don't know. I mean that as a compliment. I like the cross ramps. I like the shots. I like a lot of what they're doing here. But, and I'm certainly far from the first person to say this, the title of this game is really bad. Dialed In is a bad name for a pinball machine in 2016. It's just not good. It's the kind of thing that a year ago, if somebody had said to me, hey, we got this game, and here's the story, and I'm not totally clear on this story. I think there's a guy with a cell phone in a city called Quantum City, and somehow his cell phone is going to help avert disasters, maybe. I'll figure that out as we go. We're going to call it Dialed In. I would have been like, whoa, yeah, don't do that. Don't call your game Dialed In, exclamation point. Not a good idea. Call it Quantum City. That's been thrown out by tons of people on the web. Quantum City would be a pretty good name for an original theme. But you're doing this in a bubble. And what may not be a really great idea could seem perfectly fine if someone of the stature of Mr. Pat Lawler really believes in it. And I have no doubt that Pat Lawler believes this is a fantastic name because it integrates perfectly with his original theme idea. And look, hey man, I've done things on this show that I thought, while I'm doing them, this is really good. This is fantastic. I'll even concede that my just relentless jabbing at Stern over the super limited edition Batman was probably ill-conceived. I get that. It was too far. Because I like those people. And, there's no reason for that, really, except to be funny. And I was trying to be funny. And people liked it. People thought it was funny. But, it was too much. I agree. Listen, one more thing on this. I asked people who are neutral, and I really respect, if it was too much. And they were like, dude, it was hilarious. But it was too much. So, in my little bubble, I miss sometimes. Because I don't know. Because I just kind of do this as a one-man show. I think and look, Jersey Jack Pinball's not a small bubble. A lot of smart people working there. But if your lead designer, storied designer from pinball's history, who designed some of the greatest selling games, some of the greatest respected games with some of the highest resale value in pinball history, is saying, here's my concept, here's what it's going to be, and this is what it's called, let's do it, it's pretty easy to just fall in line and just do that. But I think it's a big miss. I just don't, it's not of the moment, it doesn't feel current, it doesn't do it for me. This is my commentary, it's my opinion, I don't like it. You're dealing with a truly original theme here. This is not a Medieval Madness original theme where we're basically doing, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You're not dealing with, oh, come on, think of something else. There's been lots of them. You're not dealing with, I'm missing. Sorry, it's the humid air. It's truly an original theme where there's no origin story. There's no sort of like, oh, I kind of know this story. This is their riff on this. This is all new. Anything in this game is brand new. Anything visual, anything audible, any backstory, any lore that you want to tell about this story in this game is totally original. This isn't working with a current thing like Hobbit. Hobbit, you've got a whole story. It's a journey. We're going to go on a journey. There's a dragon. Look at the dragon. How are we going to integrate the story and the dragon and the barrels and the river? This is all new. So it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do. And the barrier of entry for a lot of people is going to be difficult if there's too many things that don't, really connect with them. I think the artwork's fine. I think it's fine. I don't know if I'm totally in love with the centerpiece artwork guy who's holding up his cell phone into the sky. I'm not sure I love that aesthetic. I totally get that that's the story of the game. But I think the cityscape thing is pretty cool. I like the different little lightning bolts and kind of movement lines that they've got drawn throughout it. It's pretty good. I'm okay with the artwork. I like the shape of the inserts. I like the kind of like, little small flat oval inserts that run lines. I think you'll be able to do cool stuff with artwork, with lighting effects there. I actually really like the look of this game. I think that, when we first saw The Hobbit, I had a real issue with the way The Hobbit looked. I thought The Hobbit just was a miss as far as the artwork package. I think this artwork package is actually pretty good. It's just, man, I wish that game was called something else. Like something other than Dialed In. I watched some video of the gameplay. Shots look good. Looks like there's a lot going on. I saw some of the multi-balls pop up. It's cool. This game has tons of stuff to it. One of the things that's a piece of stuff that's getting a lot of attention is that there's integration with one's cell phone. You download an app, and you can then use the cell phone in certain modes of the game to actually flip the flippers. Like your cell phone sitting on the glass. That's weird. I don't know if I care about that or not. I'll have to see it and try it, and maybe that's unique in a way that feels good and I like. Its surface, I don't care. It's like, I mean, I don't think I care. Like, it's gimmicky to me. I'm into pinball, and I don't know if my phone is necessarily part of that. But hey, man, I like trying new things. I think the selfie camera is a great idea. I'm surprised it took somebody this long to do something like that. I think that's really a novel approach. Snapshots, and of course, this is only how many games that we had with full LED screens. It was like the third or fourth, depending on the order you want to call things. So maybe it's perfectly on time for that. I don't know. I like a lot of what I see. There's something there with that title. The game is a premium priced game, $9,000 for the. I took a bunch of notes because I knew I was going to mess all this up because there's so much going on. $9,000 for the standard, I think they're calling it, which is going to be limited production to 6,999, which good on them if they can sell 7,000 games here. They're going to do an unlimited time frame of a premium edition that'll have a price point of $12,500. As many of those that can be sold between now and the end of the year, they will take orders on those. Like I said, it's a narrow body game, so this goes away from the first two Jersey Jack games being wide body. This goes to narrow body. I think that's a really, really good move, especially thinking that there will be people buying all of games from certain manufacturers. And I know that may sound crazy to some, but we have collectors in this industry. We have collectors who think, oh, a game every 2 years from this company, or every year even, no big deal. I'm going to buy them all. And I think mixing it up and going narrow body here is really smart. Let me try and find my little... I had some notes here on all the different things. I've totally lost it. This is amateur podcasting. Amateur podcasting, I tell you. I think that the idea of a hologram shot back there that we kind of saw in Ghostbusters, but we're seeing again on Dialed In is cool. Looks really good. Gonna draw people in to want to shoot for that. We'll see. So I don't want to pigeonhole it too much any which way because I haven't played it. I haven't gotten to play it, and I have high hopes for the game. I mean, I am a Pat Lawler fan, so I hope that I love what I play. And but so far, not loving the theme, hating the name, really liking the layout and design look. So I think what's good about this game for Jack, and I think he mentioned this in his speech at Expo, this is a game they can promote because it is an original theme and they do own all the intellectual properties. They all had T-shirts on that said Dialed In. They can brand this as a Jersey Jack pinball title, something that I've actually thought Stern should be doing. I think it's a major case to be made for Stern to go out and do an original theme that they own, so that they can sort of use that imagery and branding as marketing materials and just company marketing materials, which they haven't really been able to do until Whoa Nelly, which didn't play well with everybody. So I think this is a good thing for Jack to have this Quantum City background and the ball going through the front of the cell phone and the woman doing the oh my gosh, I'm shocked, looking at the side art of the cabinet, and then the dude holding up his cell phone. So I mean, think about the art what you will. It's good for them in general. All right, jumping to the next story here is Highway Pinball, the Alien release. We had seen the playfield artwork. We'd seen the drawings of the toys. We'd heard a lot about this game. This game's been on the design table for quite a while. The artwork came out. They sourced artwork from a member of the pinball community in Auric Lawson. I don't know that I was blown away by the artwork on a blank playfield. I thought it was very background-like. I think it was trying to set the stage for something. I didn't see the artwork and think, oh my gosh, I want to hang that on my wall. But I will say this. Seeing a populated playfield, seeing LED lights filling all those holes, seeing the screen actually there, and watching video, I'm impressed. I think it looks great. I think this game looks fantastic. I think this could be a real big point in pinball history for Highway Pinball. I think this could be the game that gains them momentum and could really catapult the company forward. I think the when you combine the lights with the sort of subdued background art package that you have with like the alien face kind of spread in sort of like a silhouette, sort of shadowy look on the lower third of the playfield, and you have sort of planets and spaceships that aren't really the focal point of the game up in the upper part, and then you have some of the classic, alien green spots and color not eras, but color stuff coming out with the alien character up in the top. I think it actually works really well once the ramps and the guides and the posts and the flippers are all on it. It was funny. I was watching some video of this game, and those like facehugger dudes. Are those the facehugger guys? Those little creepy scorpion-like looking things that are on top of the slingshots. Those creeped me out so bad when I was a kid. Like, I hate things like that, and those kind of creep me out today, as I'm more of an adult now, apparently. Creepy, man, creepy. But I like what I'm seeing. I like the mode starts. The animations look really good on the game. I like having the LCD screen in the game, in the playfield. I'm actually a big fan of that. I think it's a major separator for Highway. You know, we're seeing screens now popping up, not just in back boxes, but we're seeing them on games. We're seeing them in Batman. We're seeing them in Dialed In. We're seeing screens pop up. We're seeing aftermarket accessory screens. Screens are cheap, and now that we have computers in these pinball machines that are running screens in the back boxes, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how screens are used in games. But I think Highway using that inner playfield main screen for scoring, for mode starts, for all the info you need, and for telling the story of the game sets them apart. Looks really good. I like a lot of what's going on. You have the big alien mouth in the back of the game, and it actually comes out and takes the ball off the magnet. Ball gets stuck on a magnet. Creepy long tongue thing with a magnet comes and grabs the ball. Interactive. I think that is also a big win for them. That's a toy that people will remember when they see that happen. I hope the coding of this game allows that to happen pretty easily. It's sort of like, Thing grabbing the ball in the Addams Family. This needs to be something you can get to fairly easily so people see it, people want to do it, people are attracted to it. I think the pop bumpers with the alien eggs look really cool. I like everything I'm seeing here. I thought the music sounded good. This is a big win for Highway Pinball. I think that this is gone about as good as it could go for them, other than I think they're probably out a year later than they initially wanted to be. Their launch video, there's a Highway Pinball Alien launch video, is one of the best pinball video marketing pieces I've ever seen. It's really good. I mean, you could nitpick it and say, well, clearly they just rolled the ball up some of those times. I can see that it wasn't moving that fast. Whatever. I think it was really cool. I think it showed you a lot of the progression through this game, which is going to be. This is a game that people are going to want to really play and get through the modes, and being able to choose between Alien or Aliens is a very interesting tactic. So there will be lots more to be talked about on Aliens, or Alien Pinball. It's Alien. And we'll get into that in future episodes, but I'm really optimistic about that game right now. So good on Highway Pinball. So, 5 hours just elapsed in real time, but that was like no time in podcast time. Magic with editing. I had to go eat dinner, hang out with my coworkers. So we need to address American Pinball. American Pinball has kind of come out of nowhere. I think if you read into where they came from, it's sort of a, their relationships with John Papaduke, with other projects. Obviously, John had been looking and reaching out and finding ways to try and save his company Zidware and save himself from a avalanche of lawsuits and legal issues. And it appears that they're working on something here with American Pinball to sort of right some of those wrongs. And I will be honest, I have been watching from afar and haven't dove too deep into the story. But I can tell you that the American Pinball people were at Expo. Scott Goldberg and Deval Vasani, and they have team members Joe Balser and Harry Mangles. So right now, what the story seems to be, from what I can tell by reading pinballnews.com, reading Pinside, listening to podcasts, is that they are using John Papaduke as a consultant. They are building games. They come from the contract manufacturing world, which is one way you would build a game like a pinball machine or a product like a pinball machine. Use a contract manufacturer instead of start your own pinball factory, because that's really hard to do. They are trying to right the wrongs of Zidware. They're trying to build the Magic Girl games to make those buyers right. That's sort of complicated because I don't believe every Magic Girl investor, buyer, owner, etc. had paid all the money. So some had paid some had paid all. There's legal issues going on. There's lawsuits happening. They said at Expo they're not ignoring the issues with Retro Atomic, Zombie Adventureland, or Alice in Wonderland, but how buyers of those games will be fulfilled will be addressed soon. So we don't know what the thought process is there. I'm guessing those games don't get built. I'm guessing that there's some sort of credit offered into the game that American Pinball has announced and plans on building, and that is a Houdini game. Houdini will not be in the same Zidware cabinet, that extra deep cabinet that we saw John show off a couple years ago at Expo, that we've seen in the Magic Girl that was almost saved, or was trying to be saved at one point. Looks like they're using their own custom boards, so there's a lot of ground up work on this. I'm going to have to just hold on this one. I don't know what to think. It's a tough one. The Houdini game looks pretty cool. I mean, but everything that John Papaduke has been attached to looks pretty cool. That's what he's good at. He's good at making something that looks pretty cool. And generally, he's good at making something fun to play. Because I like his games. I'm a John Papaduke fan. From World Cup Soccer all the way through Circus Voltaire. I like what's come out of that guy as far as a design element. And people argue, how much was John Papaduke, how much was the team. I don't know. But I know that there's a certain feel and flow and look and vibe to John Papaduke games. And I like them. So I'm going to withhold judgment. I think it's too early. I think they're still designing this Houdini game. They all but said that it's a work in progress. Things are going to change. They have to refine this game. More features, adjust shots. Those are words they used. They're saying that John Papaduke is just a consultant. So game designer, consultant, whatever you want to call it. It's interesting. There's been a lot of bad blood. I did a show with John Papaduke. I got the emails. I saw the comments. People are upset, as they probably rightfully should be. They're John Papaduke fans. I meet people in person all the time that just are so bummed that this went down with Zidware and with the money that was sent to him and the games that were not delivered to customers. Everybody loves a comeback story, right? Right? Americans love comeback stories. I think the world probably does too. So if there's a way that American Pinball can invest in building pinball and with John Papaduke attached somehow, which I think under different circumstances would be pretty valuable, under these circumstances it's worrisome because of the ill will that could come along with. But let's just say they do build the Magic Girl games and those are all shipped. And they get away. Let's get away from Magic Girl. I think that for John Papaduke to have a comeback in pinball, we've got to get away from Magic Girl. We've got to wipe the slate clean. People need to be, and I hate this term, but it's really the term that applies. People need to be made whole. There should be nobody in the pinball community that feels like they got screwed from investing in the company that John was trying to get off the ground. For then John to come back with another company and build games. I just think that's what I would like to see. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I don't know. We'll see. But it's an interesting story and one that it's funny. It's got a big long pinside thread, but I'm not hearing a lot of other chatter about it. So we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that they can pull something off here and that they can, have a comeback. It'd be cool to see American Pinball make people whole and get on with it, right? Get on building games. Business people, with John on the team, yeah, maybe. Hopefully good things happen. So we'll see what comes of Houdini. I wish them nothing but the best, and what I really hope is the people who sent money in end up with a game or with their money back or with some other arrangement that makes them feel like they have not been taken, I guess. So I got to wrap this up. I got to go to bed. I'm flying to Hong Kong in the morning. haven't done a show in a while, and I just want all the listeners and all the people who've emailed me to know that I'm not gone or anything. I'm moving. I got a lot going on right now. Teresa and I are moving our lives, and I had some great feedback from the last show with Teresa. People loved Teresa on the show. I probably got more feedback from that show than any show in a long, long time. Yeah, you guys all realize what I realized. Teresa's amazing. She's funny. She's smart. She's my favorite person in the world. So I had a lot of fun. Probably bring her back on in the not too distant future as we get to travel around the world and play some pinball. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm exhausted right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Expo, and at least, if for nothing else, when I go back in 50 years, life willing, and look at all my podcasts that I did, there won't be this giant hole around Pinball Expo 2016, which I think is a pretty significant pinball expo. We'll dive deeper in the future into a lot of these stories. A lot of these stories are going to develop. There's actually a lot of other stories coming out. You know, we didn't mention there's a Black Arrow edition Hobbit. We didn't mention that Spooky Pinball has been teasing their next game, and how they've got other things going on with another contract game and all the great stuff going on up there. There's, Multimorphic was at Expo talking about the P3 and, what they need to do to get that launch. There's just so much going on. There's stuff going on, virtual pinball with virtual reality pinball. It's actually a pretty great time to be in the pinball hobby. And I know that the cost of these games is getting out there. I see that a lot. I've gotten emails that when is it insane? When does it stop? I don't have the answer for that. But what I do know is that you can always go play pinball for like $1. You can always go on location and play some pinball for like $1. And I would encourage you to do so. If you're listening to this, you love pinball, I'm sure, and we share that in common. So I wish you all the best, and I hope to talk to you again real soon. If you've got thoughts, got anything you want to share, coast2coastpinball@gmail.com. There's a ton of really good podcasts right now. Please listen. Please support the people who are, spending their time and their energy. Give them a shot. I wouldn't say listen to everything just because, but give everyone a shot that's got a podcast out there, and you might find something you really enjoy, because there's something out every week, and that's fantastic. Because when I started this show, however long ago that was, there was not something out every week. So the fact that there is now, it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's episode 231 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Until next time, play more pinball, take care of yourselves, and most of all, be nice to each other.